Hi, welcome back. I am talking about some of my favorite stunning single eyeshadows today. Most of these can be applied with a single brush or just simply your finger. I think it was Mariah Leonard who did the tag a few months ago, one and done eyeshadows, and I kept getting questions and comments asking if I would do that video, and I thought to myself, I've literally done a video like that before. So I didn't do it, and then I go back and I start looking and I realize that I've never done a one and done eyeshadow video. So this is kind of a take off of hers, which is simply just talking about some shadows you can wear by themselves and kind of just be done with your full eye look. So we're just gonna step right into it. I feel like I also hesitated doing this video because these are shadows you all see me use constantly. Like 90% of my looks are a one and done eyeshadow look. So I think that's why I held off on it. But some of these I realized, especially particular colors, I haven't used a lot on camera. So I did do eye swatches for all of the shades. You're gonna have to forgive me though. They aren't the most polished eye swatches because I had to, I wasn't wearing any foundation, and obviously I had to like remove each one to show you each color. So it's simply just an eye swatch on my bare skin, but it will give you an idea of what the shades look like and how they apply. I want to start out with what could possibly be, in my opinion, some of the best cream/liquid eyeshadows you can find at the drugstore. And I used these all throughout 2020, and I just always loved the appearance and the look that they gave. And they are the L'Oreal Brilliant Eyes liquid eyeshadows. They're really not liquid. It's kind of like a hybrid between a cream and a liquid, so kind of like a moussey texture. I have 3 of these. I may have 4, but these are the 3 that I have in rotation. If you are someone who just wants a quick, stunning, kind of sparkly eye look, this is what you need to go for. I am just stunned by the formula on these. So easy to apply. They last. Once they've dried down on my lids, they aren't coming off the entire day. I also really like the color lineup of these shadows. There are some fun, playful colors. You have your traditional shades, your bronzes, your champagne tones. The 3 that I have are Amethyst Quartz, which is this gorgeous kind of silvery mid-tone like purple. And then we have Bronze Light and also Diamond Drop. So what I like to do with these 2 is actually mix them, and I get a really nice custom, almost like a really light copper tone. And what I like to do is, depending on my skin tone, right now I'm pretty fair, so I'll use more of the Diamond Drop, which is a champagne tone, and then just a tad bit of the bronze shade, and it gives me like my perfect tone. If I'm in the summertime, I'll add more of the bronze tone, so I can really kind of customize my shade with these. Super long wearing, stunning finish on the eyes. I prefer to use a brush with these, but you could easily use your finger. They're not hard to blend, and they have a good workability to them. They don't dry down immediately. It's just enough time to get it kind of worked in, smoothed out, and then they're dry. Sometimes I actually have a pretty hard time getting these off in the evening. So yeah, these, great pick from the drugstore. Bodyography glitter pigments. I was introduced to these a couple years ago by Allie Glines. She actually sent me some, and I have been hooked ever since. They are very reminiscent to me of the L'Oreal pressed, infallible pressed pigments that you can find at the drugstore. Those would be a really good dupe for these. However, I do find that these have much more shine to them. They definitely make the eyes pop a little bit more than the L'Oreal ones, but they are a very similar formula. And the shades and the Bodyography ones are much more unique. That's one thing I love about these. I have some really unique tones. So I showed you 3 on my eyes, 3 eye swatches. The one I'm wearing on my eyes currently right now is the shade Celestial. It's kind of like this really soft rose gold champagne tone, perfect for any skin tone. It's just kind of like that classic pop of champagne with like a little bit of a twist. It's got a little bit of a rose gold hue to it. Caviar, this is, if you're someone who likes a good kind of like mysterious, sooty, smoky eye, this, you just pop it on, blend it out with a brush, and you're done. I love how this looks really grungy, but also polished at the same time. And then the shade Prism is this really unique kind of duochromed green. It's a mix between, I would say, like an olive green, and then there's almost like this blue hue or blue shift to it. It's a really fun tone. Obviously, probably not going to be your everyday wear color, but it is just a really fun shade nonetheless. So I have done swatches of all of the shades that I own. I'll try to link that video down below if you want to see full swatches, but I didn't want to ramble on about every single shade that I owned. There are so many gorgeous tones. There's not one shade that I've tried that isn't just completely beautiful. So they're pressed pigments. I like to apply them with my finger. Normally, I like to apply them underneath a base, some type of cream shadow I've already put down, and I just like to press into the lid, and I'm done. That's literally all you have to do. These basically do the work for you. These are definitely going to be for the natural makeup people out there, someone who literally wants to apply something with their finger and that be the end of it. It's the RMS Eye Polishes. I have a couple of shades. I have Magnetic and also Solar. Magnetic is again kind of like that shift between a purple and a brown hue, depending on your skin tone. That's really going to depend how it's going to show up. On me right now, having such fair skin, it shows up as more of a brown, but when I'm tanner in the summertime, you can definitely see that kind of silver purple hue a little bit more. And then Solar is like your classic bronze tone. One might call it a copper, just a very warm toned bronze shade. So these are just like the epitome of something easy that you can throw on. They really blend well. I don't have a problem with applying them. They have a good amount of creaminess to them. I will say, out of all of the cream shadows I'm going to talk about today, these are probably the least longest wearing. But some days I just want that undone look. Some days I just don't care if I have a little crease in my shadow, whatever, as long as the color still looks really pretty on my eyes. I'm not too picky about it. So do want to throw that out there. But they do have a few other shades to choose from in eye polishes. If you're someone that likes, you know, like the natural beauty brands, this is something to look into. Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Mesmerize. These have been around for years. So the funny thing is back when I first started wearing Charlotte Tilbury, I think I tell this story often on my channel. I placed my first ever experience with Charlotte Tilbury. I placed an order and I ordered literally all of the things that I don't like from her brand, which it's a select few, but somehow on that first order, I placed everything I disliked. Now, you know me, you know my channel. I am a huge Charlotte Tilbury stan, like for life. Most of her products I love. But these were actually on that order that I placed initially. I had the shade that I have here, which is called Jean. And here is what I came to realize the problem was. And also, I do want to put a disclaimer out there. They have reformulated these and also changed the name on these pretty recently. And I have noticed a difference in that, but I'll get into that in just a second. I realized, 6-7 years ago, Charlotte Tilbury in her YouTube videos, they used pretty heavy filters. And I realized that the way it was looking on the models, like it wasn't super realistic. So when I got it in and tried it on my eyes, and it kind of just looked like a nice classy champagne tone, I was a little disappointed because these are not the cheapest. And I remember I returned it. And it wasn't until probably like, a couple years ago, 2-3 years ago, I gave them another shot. And I don't know if there was a reformulation after that. I don't know if it's because I realized like, hey, your eyes probably aren't going to look like that because you're not walking around with a filter 24/7. But I kind of fell back in love with these cream shadows. I really love the moussey texture. Again, something that can easily be applied with your finger or one brush. So the two shades that I really enjoy, I have, I think, 4 of these. The other 2 that I own are, I think, the Amber Gold and Oyster Pearl. Those are, they're just, on me, on my skin tone, they're just okay. But these 2 that I'm going to talk about are the ones that I use the most. So Jean is the first one, and I believe this has been renamed Champagne. They renamed like all the tones. Like I said, I think these have also slightly been reformulated. But I have, mine is still called Jean. So this is the old school one. And I find that it is a little bit more metallic, a little bit more reflective than my newer ones. But it's your classic kind of clean champagne shell color. Like if you have fair to light skin, this is going to be one that is just going to give you that doe-eyed, fresh, awake style look. And then a newer one that I have, it's been on my list for like ever since it came out. I wanted to try it, and they were sold out of it for a long time. Until recently, and I just splurged on it for Christmas. It was kind of like a Christmas makeup treat to myself, and it's the shade Rose Gold. And it's actually what I'm wearing on my eyes today. I'm wearing Rose Gold underneath that Celestial pigment, and it's just a really pretty pink tone for a light complexion. Now, if you have a darker complexion, this would also look stunning, but I think a lot of you out there who have fair skin like me would agree that it's hard to find a pink that doesn't make you look sick, or that doesn't make you look like you have, you know, pink eye, like there's inflammation going on around the eye. And this is definitely one that doesn't do that. It's really, really subtle in its pink hue, and that's what I love about it. It gives just the proper amount of shine on the lids. And I also find that it layers really well with other shadows, with powder shadows, with something like a pigment on top. So I really like its versatile nature. And yeah, these are splurgy products. I think you could easily, I won't say easily dupe these, but you can find similar tones at the drugstore. I know the L'Oreal Brilliant Eyes that I just talked about, they have a pink tone in their range. And then obviously the champagne tone, it's not the most unique color, but I do get a lot of use out of it. I feel like this wouldn't be a proper one and done shadow video without talking about one of the OG products, probably my first introduction to cream eyeshadow that I remember loving, and that's the MAC paint pots. Still to this day, I see MAC paint pots at Ulta online, and I'm like, damn, those are just, they're good. They're good classic products. And my all-time favorite MAC paint pot is Vintage Selection. I still own it. I still use it. It is, again, the epitome of a doe-eyed, fresh cream eye color, if you will. It's a little bit more unique than the Charlotte Tilbury one because to me it has this very interesting undertone, almost like a gray, silver, champagne mix. It's just like this beautiful, I don't know how to describe it, just almost like a pewter tone maybe. And easily applied with one finger, one and done shade, true to nature. Like literally this looks perfect by itself. But again, it also pairs nicely with darker, like rich chocolate tones, with even a black tone. It just looks stunning on all skin tones, and I have been repurchasing it for years now. So other than the classic shades, Soft Ochre, Painterly, if you're familiar with MAC, those are like classic run-of-the-mill colors is what I would call them. But one that I feel like doesn't get talked about a ton is the shade Layin Low, and it's this beautiful, soft, peachy tone. If you have tan skin and up, this is going to be like your go-to for a soft canvas on your eyes. You can wear it by itself. You can wear it underneath as a primer, and it's really going to help boost your eyeshadows. Personally, I can only wear this in the summertime when I'm at my darkest, which is really just like in the medium complexion range. But on tan skin, oh my gosh, this is a gorgeous color. Also, if you're someone that doesn't like shine and pigment and glitter, it is a matte tone. So it's just this soft smoothing, like it gives this smoothing appearance to the lid. I love that about it. So these two are in my current collection, and yeah, they're gorgeous. So speaking of matte tones, I did want to incorporate some matte shades to also talk about, because I know not everyone is into the glitter high shine effect. So Ulta actually makes these cream eyeshadows. They are literally called matte cream eyeshadows, and the color selection or the color lineup is very limited, but it's shades that anyone could wear for daily wear. There aren't any like crazy out there, you know, tones. It's literally like your classic everyday colors. So the shade that I have, I only have one, and honestly, I think the lineup's limited. I think there's only like 4 or 5 shades, but these are very smoothing on the lids. They last once they've dried down. They're not going anywhere. And I really like the color selection. It's almost like this malty, milky, just neutral color palette that they have to offer. And the one that I have here, very similar to me to a MAC Painterly paint pot, if you're familiar with that tone, but it's kind of like that putty, like a putty neutral. It's not super warm, it's not super cool, it's somewhere in between, just like a putty brown beige, especially if you're in the light to medium category and up. I will say if you're pretty fair, again, this can borderline sometimes make my eyes look a little bit too pink. It's definitely not one that I reach for a ton in the wintertime, but the summertime, really great shade. Okay, finally, we are rounding this off with my precious caviar sticks. Obviously, there is just no better option, in my opinion, as far as color selection, as far as formula goes, when it comes to a one and done eyeshadow, than the Mercier Caviar Sticks. Now, I'm not going to spend all day on these because obviously, you know, I spend 24/7 talking about these. If you want to see some of my favorite color combinations in the caviar sticks, I did a video a couple months back, which I will link down below, showing you all of my favorite shades in action. But I will run you through 2 categories, kind of like the high shine finish categories that are my favorite, and then some of the more satin to matte finishes. So starting out with, we have Orchid. Orchid is one of my favorite shades. Lovely, just soft purple toned shade. It's very fresh. It's very springy. I love wearing this in the spring and summer. I think it actually thrives when you wear it by itself. It's a perfect soft purple tone that you can just pop on mascara with, and it stands out like no other. Love Orchid. Intense Moonlight. Intense Moonlight is going to be for the pewter champagne lovers out there. Also, when I say intense in the caviar sticks, generally they have a counterpart that is not an intense version, and basically all that means is the intense version has a higher shine finish to it, generally more of a metallic silver undertone. I actually prefer most of the time the intense versions of the caviar sticks, just because I like that. I like a good high shine style look. If you don't, then just go for the regular version. So this one's Intense Moonlight. They also have a regular Moonlight, which isn't going to be as high shine. I like the Intense Moonlight one because it's kind of like that great accommodating pop on the eye when you're going for like a traditional smoky eye. Intense Amethyst, again, probably high up there on one of my all-time favorite shades. It is this unique, gorgeous mix of an amethyst with a bronze with a little bit of a silver tone, and I just think that it's such a unique and amazing color. For anyone who wants to add something to their collection that is still neutral but not like a boring brown or your regular gold or copper, Intense Amethyst is where it's at. Metallic Taupe. This is one that when people ask me like, hey, if you could just give me like 2 caviar sticks to purchase, I don't want to, you know, like splurge too much since they are so pricey, which 2 would you recommend? Normally I will say Metallic Taupe and Cocoa, because they give you that beautiful classic neutral stunning look on the eye. Metallic Taupe, in my opinion, is a perfect mix of intense Moonlight and also copper, which I'll talk about next. It's kind of bordering a champagne and a gold at the same time, and it just looks gorgeous on all skin tones. I think that it is one of the most beautiful shades, most versatile shades that you can pick from. And then finally, copper. You know, like, we all love a good copper warm bronze tone. This I love in the summertime. Don't really go for it a lot in the wintertime because it is very warm toned, and I just find it looks better on a warmer, darker complexion. So if you're someone who loves a good copper eye, this is one to go for. Cocoa, obviously, this is my ride or die. This is my all-time favorite caviar stick. It is more of a satin finish. You won't get a lot of glitter or shine out of it. Honestly, most of the time it looks pretty matte on the eye. And a lot of people look at this and they're like, that's legitimately a boring brown. And it truly is, but you can truly do so many things with it. You've seen me use this in probably dozens of videos, creating like single eyeshadow looks with it. It's just the most versatile color and product that I have in my collection, and I can never live without it. So Cocoa is always one that I will recommend for people, especially if you want something that can just, it can be used for anything. Sticking with the satin theme here, I have Khaki and Sandglow. Now, Sandglow I know is not available to everyone. I realized that after I did my caviar stick video. I don't think you can get it in the UK or Canada, so it's pretty much like a US exclusive. I think the rest of them are available. I don't know why this one is, but a lot of you all had a hard time finding it. So if you can't find it, Khaki is pretty similar. It is more of a true kind of like olive khaki tone on the eye, but I find it to be really unique. Again, if you don't want to just go for a boring brown, you want some dimension, Khaki, Sandglow, really good options. The only difference is Sandglow is kind of like a khaki with a gold mix in. Khaki is definitely like a true khaki, like olive tone. And ending with the perfect matte trio, in my opinion. These are three of my most used matte shades. The first is Au Naturale. It's a very soft skin tone shade if you're in the light to medium category. Great base for any type of pigment you want to put on top of it. Great base for basically anything, for powder eyeshadows, for pigments, for something that could be a little bit more reflective, like if you wanted to put a more reflective caviar stick on top. It's just kind of like that perfect soft skin tone shade. Caramel is your classic soft brown, what everyone loves in a crease tone, what everyone loves in a transitional shade. That's when I would go for Caramel. It's just this warm, rich, light medium tone caramel color. And Cobblestone. Cobblestone is a taupe. It's a mix of a brown and a gray. Looks stunning with shades like Intense Moonlight. Looks stunning with shades like Amethyst. It's definitely on the cooler tone side, so if you prefer browns or grays that run more cool, then definitely go for Cobblestone. Okay, those are my one and done shades. I have knocked this off the list, even though I thought I had done this prior to, but I hope you enjoyed seeing some of my favorites. I hope you enjoyed seeing just a full-on recap of my most used one and done shadows. Most of these are cream, but most of you, I just kind of did a light clean out of my makeup collection. You would be shocked at the amount of eyeshadow palettes I have. I think I have less than like 6 at this point. So my powder eyeshadow game is not strong. The majority of my collection is now a cream one and done style eyeshadow. So that's why the majority are cream, but if you know me, then you know me. I do not plan to stop anytime soon. I actually have a full lineup of new cream shadows I want to try in 2021. So look forward to that. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.